Imagine being a high school student, eager to learn and make the most of your education, only to have your world turned upside down without warning. For 16-year-old Jamal, a black student at Oakwood High School, this was his harsh reality. He had always been a diligent student, actively participating in class and maintaining excellent grades. However, one day without any prior incidents or warnings, Jamal received a shocking letter from the school administration informing him that he was being expelled, effective immediately. The reason stated was disruption to the school environment, but Jamal knew he had done nothing wrong. Confused and devastated, he wondered what could have led to this drastic decision. His parents were equally perplexed and demanded an explanation from the school, but the administration remained tight-lipped. As the news of Jamal's expulsion spread like wildfire through the community, whispers of racial bias began to circulate. Many students and parents felt that the school had a history of treating black students unfairly, and Jamal's case seemed to be just another example. The local media caught wind of the story and soon reporters were camped outside the school demanding answers. The school's principal, Mrs. Johnson, initially refused to comment, but the persistent media attention eventually forced her hand. In a press conference held a week later, Mrs. Johnson claimed that Jamal's expulsion was a necessary measure to maintain order in the school, citing unspecified security concerns. However, she refused to provide any concrete evidence to support her claims. Jamal's family and their supporters were outraged, believing that the school was hiding something. As the media scrutiny intensified, the school's reputation began to take a hit. Alumni and current students started speaking out against the school's alleged discriminatory practices, sharing their own experiences of feeling marginalized and unfairly treated. The hashtag Justice for Jamal began trending on social media, with people from all over the country expressing their support for the young student. The local NAACP chapter announced plans to investigate the matter further and hold the school accountable for their actions. Jamal's family, emboldened by the growing support, decided to take a stand and fight for Jamal's right to education. They hired a prominent civil rights lawyer, who vowed to uncover the truth behind Jamal's expulsion. As the investigation began, it became clear that the school had a lot to hide. Documents obtained through Freedom of Information requests revealed a pattern of disciplinary actions taken against black students that seemed disproportionate to the infractions. The lawyer discovered that Jamal's expulsion might be linked to a complaint made by a teacher who had been accused of racism by several students. The plot thickened as the lawyer dug deeper, finding inconsistencies in the school's story and potential witnesses who were willing to come forward. With the media still swarming the school, the pressure was mounting on the administration to come clean. Just as it seemed like the truth was about to surface, the lawyer received a cryptic message from an anonymous source claiming to have evidence that would change everything. The message read, "Meet me at the old warehouse on 5th and Main at midnight if you want to know the real reason Jamal was expelled." The lawyer was skeptical but couldn't shake off the feeling that this mysterious source might hold the key to Jamal's case. As the clock struck midnight, the lawyer stood outside the abandoned warehouse, wondering what revelations the night might bring. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, whispering, "You shouldn't have come here. Now you know too much." And with that, the figure handed the lawyer a folder marked "Confidential," and disappeared into the night, leaving the lawyer stunned and wondering what secrets the folder might hold. The lawyer opened the folder and what they saw made their blood run cold. The contents of the folder would expose the school's darkest secrets and change Jamal's life forever. But as the lawyer looked up, they realized they were not alone. A black SUV was watching them from across the street, its engine running. And that's when everything went black. The lawyer's world went dark as they were knocked unconscious, the folder slipping from their grasp. When they came to, they were lying in a deserted alleyway, the folder nowhere to be found. Panicked, they scrambled to their feet and rushed back to their office, wondering if the whole encounter had been a hallucination. But the memory of the mysterious figure and the folder's contents lingered, refusing to be shaken off. The lawyer quickly pieced together what they could remember from the folder. There were documents detailing a secret agreement between the school administration and a prominent local businessman, hinting at a deep-seated corruption that went all the way to the top. The lawyer knew they had to get to the bottom of this and fast. They scheduled a meeting with Jamal's family and their supporters to share the new evidence. But before they could reveal anything, the police arrived, serving the lawyer with a warrant for their arrest. The charges were bogus, but the lawyer knew this was an intimidation tactic to shut them down. As the lawyer was taken away in handcuffs, Jamal's family and supporters rallied around them, refusing to back down. The media, sensing a bigger story, descended upon the police station, demanding answers. In the chaos, the lawyer managed to whisper to Jamal's mother about the folder's contents and the secret agreement. They told her to find a trusted journalist to investigate further and get the story out before it was too late. With the lawyer in custody, Jamal's mother reached out to Rachel, a fearless investigative journalist with a track record of exposing corruption. Rachel was intrigued by the story and agreed to meet with Jamal's family. As they sat down, Jamal's mother handed Rachel a cryptic note with a single sentence: "The key is in the school's budget." Rachel's investigation led her to a shocking discovery: a large sum of money had been embezzled from the school's budget, and the funds had been funneled into a shell company owned by the same businessman mentioned in the folder. The connection was clear. Jamal's expulsion was just a small part of a much larger scheme. Rachel's article went viral, exposing the corruption and sparking widespread outrage. The school administration was forced to reinstate Jamal, pending a full investigation. But just as it seemed like justice had been served, Jamal received a chilling message: "You think you've won, but the real battle is just beginning." The message was unsigned, but Jamal knew it was from someone who meant business. As Jamal walked back into school, they were met with a mixture of stares and whispers. Some students seemed supportive, but others looked scared or even hostile. Jamal's instincts told them that something was off. And then they saw it, a list posted on the school's bulletin board with their name at the top, followed by a single word: "Target." Jamal's heart sank. What did this mean and who was behind it? As Jamal tried to make sense of the ominous message, the school's doors burst open, and a team of federal agents stormed in, flanked by local police. They were there to investigate the school's corruption, but their presence sent a shiver down Jamal's spine. The agent in charge approached Jamal and whispered, "We've been watching you, Jamal. You're not safe here. You're coming with us." Jamal's world was turned upside down once again. What did the agents want from them? And why did they seem so interested in their safety? As Jamal was whisked away, they caught a glimpse of Rachel, the journalist, watching from the shadows. She mouthed a single word: "Witness protection." Jamal's fate hung in the balance. Would they be protected, or would they become the next victim of the school's dark secrets? The agents drove Jamal to a secure location, but the questions lingered. What lay ahead? And then, just as Jamal thought they were safe, the agent's phone rang. The voice on the other end spoke in a low, menacing tone: "You shouldn't have taken Jamal. Now you'll have to deal with the consequences." The agent's face turned white. Jamal's heart sank. They were not safe. Not yet. And then everything went black, again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. When Jamal came to, they were lying in a hospital bed, surrounded by sterile white walls and the faint smell of disinfectant. The agents stood guard outside their room, a look of determination etched on their face. Jamal tried to piece together what had happened. They remembered being taken away by the agents and then, nothing. The agent noticed Jamal was awake and stepped inside. "You're safe now, Jamal," they said. "You're in witness protection. We'll do everything to keep you safe." Jamal's mind reeled with questions. What did they mean by witness protection? What did they have to testify about? The agent explained that Jamal's testimony would be crucial in exposing the corruption at Oakwood High School and bringing those responsible to justice. Jamal's family was also being protected, and they would be reunited soon. As Jamal began to process this information, Rachel, the journalist, visited them in the hospital. She revealed that she had received threats too and was now in hiding. Rachel handed Jamal a folder containing documents that detailed the extent of the corruption. There were records of money laundering, bribery, and even evidence of a secret society within the school that controlled everything from grades to faculty appointments. Jamal's eyes widened as they read through the documents. This was much bigger than they had ever imagined. The agent interrupted, saying it was time to move Jamal to a safer location. As they prepared to leave, Jamal caught a glimpse of a figure lurking in the shadows outside their room. It was a face they recognized, a face that made their blood run cold. It was one of their teachers from Oakwood High School, someone they had trusted. The agent noticed Jamal's reaction and quickly ushered them out of the room. As they drove through the night, Jamal couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. The agent reassured them that they were safe, but Jamal wasn't convinced. They arrived at a secure facility, a nondescript building in a remote location. Jamal was introduced to their new handler, a no-nonsense woman named Agent Thompson. She briefed Jamal on the security measures in place and warned them about the dangers that still lurked outside. Jamal's family arrived soon after, and they were finally reunited. But the tension was palpable. They all knew that the trial was approaching and the stakes were higher than ever. As they settled into their new routine, Jamal couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead. Would they be able to bring the corrupt officials to justice, or would the secret society silence them forever? The day of the trial arrived and Jamal took the stand. They testified against the school administrators and the businessman, revealing the extent of the corruption. The courtroom was packed and the tension was electric. As Jamal finished their testimony, they locked eyes with the accused. The businessman sneered, but Jamal stood tall. They knew they had done the right thing. But just as the judge was about to adjourn, a sudden commotion erupted outside the courtroom. Shouts and screams echoed through the hallway. Agent Thompson rushed in, her face pale. "We've been compromised," she whispered to Jamal's family. "We have to get out now." The courtroom erupted into chaos as the marshals tried to regain control. Jamal's family was rushed out of the courtroom, but not before Jamal saw a figure slipping into the shadows. It was the teacher, the one they had seen in the hospital. This time, they were holding a small device with a screen that displayed a chilling message: "You'll never be safe." The device beeped and the courtroom plunged into darkness. Jamal's world went black once more, but this time they knew it wasn't just a blackout. It was the beginning of a new nightmare. And as the darkness closed in, Jamal heard a faint whisper, "The real show is just about to start." When Jamal came to, they were lying in a dimly lit room, the air thick with the smell of smoke and desperation. The teacher stood over them, a maniacal glint in their eye. "You should have stayed out of this, Jamal," they sneered. "But now you're the star of the show." Jamal's mind reeled as they tried to piece together what was happening. The teacher revealed that they were part of the secret society, and Jamal's testimony had threatened to bring down their entire operation. The device the teacher had shown in the courtroom was a trigger, and now Jamal was in the society's hands. The teacher dragged Jamal to a hidden underground complex, where they were met with a sea of faces, all shrouded in darkness. The society's leader, a figure known only as the Archon, emerged from the shadows. "Welcome, Jamal," the Archon said, their voice dripping with malice. "You'll make a fine addition to our little show. You see, we've been watching you, studying you. And we believe you'll make the perfect pawn in our game." Jamal's eyes adjusted to the dim light, and they saw that they were surrounded by other students, all of whom seemed brainwashed or drugged. The Archon revealed that the society had been manipulating the school system for years, using their influence to groom students for their own purposes. Jamal realized that they had stumbled into something much darker than corruption, a cult-like organization that controlled and manipulated the vulnerable. The Archon announced that Jamal would be part of a new experiment, one that would test their limits and push them to the edge. Jamal knew they had to escape, but the society's grip was tight. As the Archon began to outline the experiment's details, Jamal spotted a glimmer of hope. One of the brainwashed students seemed to recognize them, and for a fleeting moment, their eyes locked in a silent understanding. The student, whose name was Alex, might be the key to Jamal's escape. But as the Archon continued to speak, Jamal realized that Alex's gaze might not be a sign of resistance. It might be a trap. The Archon finished speaking and the room fell silent. Jamal knew they had to act fast. They made a split-second decision, choosing to trust Alex. With a nod, Jamal signaled to Alex and together they made a desperate bid for freedom. They sprinted through the complex, dodging society members and avoiding danger. The sound of gunfire and screams filled the air as they ran for their lives. Just when it seemed like they might make it out, the Archon's voice boomed through the speakers. "You fools," they laughed. "You think you can escape? The experiment has already begun. You'll never leave this place alive." Jamal and Alex burst through the doors, gasping for air as they emerged into the night. But as they looked back, they saw the complex was surrounded by flames, the society's members fleeing in panic. Sirens blared in the distance, and Jamal knew the authorities were closing in. But just as they thought they were safe, Alex's eyes locked onto something behind Jamal. "Run," Alex whispered, their voice trembling with fear. Jamal turned to see a figure emerging from the shadows, a figure they knew all too well. It was Rachel, the journalist. But something was wrong. Her eyes seemed different. "Welcome, Jamal," Rachel said, her voice cold and detached. "I've been waiting for you. You're just in time for the main event." And with that, Rachel raised her hand, revealing a small device. Jamal's world went dark once more, but this time they knew they were in for something much worse. The device beeped and everything went silent. But in the darkness, Jamal heard a faint whisper, "The real experiment is only just beginning." Jamal's world was a blur as they were dragged away by Rachel. They tried to struggle, but Rachel's grip was like a vice. Alex was nowhere to be seen, and Jamal feared the worst. Rachel tossed Jamal into a van, and they sped away into the night. Jamal's mind reeled with questions. What had happened to Rachel? Why was she working with the society? The van stopped, and Jamal was pulled out, finding themselves in a desolate warehouse on the outskirts of town. Rachel stood over them, her eyes still cold and detached. "You see, Jamal, I've been playing a role," Rachel said, her voice dripping with menace. "A role that required me to gain your trust, to get close to you. And now it's time for the main event." Jamal's eyes scanned the warehouse, searching for any sign of escape or rescue. But they were alone, surrounded by crates and shadows. Rachel revealed that she had been brainwashed by the society, her memories altered to make her a perfect pawn. "You'll make a fine test subject, Jamal," Rachel said, her voice devoid of emotion. "You'll help us perfect our mind control techniques." Jamal knew they had to resist, but Rachel's words sent a chill down their spine. They were led to a makeshift laboratory, where a team of scientists in hazmat suits waited. They injected Jamal with a serum, and a strange sensation coursed through their veins. As the minutes ticked by, Jamal felt their memories begin to blur, their thoughts growing foggy. They knew they were being manipulated, but they couldn't fight back. Just as the scientists seemed to be making progress, the warehouse was stormed by a team of agents, led by Agent Thompson. "We've got them cornered," Agent Thompson shouted as the agents closed in. Rachel's expression didn't change, but a flicker of uncertainty danced in her eyes. "It seems our little experiment has been compromised," she said, her voice still cold. With a nod, Rachel activated a device that sent a high-pitched frequency through the warehouse. The agents clutched their ears, momentarily disoriented. In the chaos, Jamal saw their chance. With a surge of adrenaline, they broke free from their restraints and sprinted towards Agent Thompson. But as they reached the agent, they felt a searing pain in their head. The serum, the frequency, it was all too much. Jamal's vision began to blur and they stumbled. Agent Thompson caught them, shouting, "We've got to get out of here now." As they were dragged away, Jamal saw Rachel standing alone, her eyes fixed on them with an unreadable expression. And then everything went black. When Jamal came to, they were in a hospital bed, Agent Thompson standing guard. "You're safe now," the agent said. "The society's leaders are being rounded up, and Rachel's being treated for her brainwashing." But Jamal knew it wasn't over. They remembered the look in Rachel's eyes, the hint of something more. "There's something else, isn't there?" Jamal asked, their voice barely above a whisper. Agent Thompson's expression turned grave. "We found something, Jamal. Something that suggests the society's experiment was just a small part of something much bigger. A project codenamed Erebus. Jamal's heart sank. What was Erebus? And how far did its reach extend? As Agent Thompson leaned in, a look of determination etched on their face, Jamal knew that their journey was far from over. "We're just starting to scratch the surface, Jamal," Agent Thompson said. "But I have a feeling that Erebus is going to change everything." And with that, the door burst open and a team of agents rushed in, their faces pale. "Agent Thompson, we've received a message from an unknown sender," one of the agents said, their voice trembling. "It's a single sentence: Erebus has been activated." The room fell silent, and Jamal's world went cold. What was coming next? The agents exchanged worried glances, and Agent Thompson's expression turned grim. "What do we know about the message?" they asked. The agent who had delivered the news hesitated before responding. "It's coming from an encrypted source. We're trying to track it down, but it's like nothing we've seen before." Jamal's mind was racing. What did Erebus mean? And who was behind the message? Agent Thompson's phone rang and they answered, listening intently before hanging up. "We've got a situation," they said, their voice low and urgent. Reports are coming in of widespread chaos across the city. Power outages, communication disruptions, it's like a coordinated attack. Jamal's heart sank. This was more than just a simple experiment gone wrong. This was something massive, something that threatened to bring down the entire city. The agents sprang into action, mobilizing response teams and coordinating with emergency services. Jamal knew they had to act fast, but they were still recovering from their ordeal. Agent Thompson handed them a phone. "We need you to talk to someone," they said. "Someone who might be able to help us understand what's going on." Jamal took the phone, and a voice they didn't recognize spoke on the other end. "Jamal, I'm someone who has been watching you. I've been watching this society too. And I think I know what's happening." The voice was calm, collected, and seemed to know exactly what they were talking about. "Erebus is a failsafe," the voice continued. "A failsafe designed to reboot the entire system. And once it's activated, there's no going back." Jamal's mind reeled. What did it mean? And what kind of system was being rebooted? The voice on the phone seemed to sense their confusion. "I'll explain everything, Jamal. But first, you need to get out of there. Agent Thompson can't protect you. No one can." Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered, and the machines began to beep erratically. The agents looked around, confused. "What's happening?" Agent Thompson shouted. The voice on the phone responded, "It's starting. Erebus is spreading. You have to get out now." Jamal didn't hesitate. They grabbed Agent Thompson's arm and pulled them towards the door. "We have to go," they shouted. As they stumbled out into the chaos-filled streets, Jamal saw the city descending into madness. Cars were overturned, buildings were ablaze, and people were running for their lives. The voice on the phone guided them through the chaos, directing them towards a safe location. But Jamal knew they weren't safe yet. Not until they understood what Erebus was and how to stop it. As they ran, the voice on the phone whispered one final message. "Jamal, you're the key. You're the only one who can stop Erebus. But be warned, the cost will be high. Are you ready to pay the price?" Jamal's heart pounded in their chest. What did it mean? And what was the price? As they turned a corner, a massive explosion rocked the city, sending them flying. And as Jamal struggled to get back to their feet, they saw it. A massive wall of darkness spreading across the city, consuming everything in its path. The voice on the phone whispered one final time, "It's too late. Erebus has taken control. The city is gone." And with that, everything went black. But just before the darkness took over, Jamal heard a faint whisper. "The reboot has begun." Jamal's world was consumed by darkness, the city's infrastructure crumbling around them. The voice on the phone was gone, and they were left alone to face the consequences of Erebus. As the city descended into chaos, Jamal stumbled through the ruins, searching for any sign of hope. They came across a small group of survivors, huddled together in a deserted alleyway. Among them was Alex, the student who had helped Jamal escape the society. Alex's eyes lit up when they saw Jamal, and they rushed into a tight hug. "I thought I'd lost you," Alex said, tears streaming down their face. Jamal smiled weakly, relief washing over them. "I'm here," they said. "We made it." Together, the group of survivors banded together, determined to rebuild and restart. They scavenged for food and supplies, sharing what little they had. As the days turned into weeks, Jamal realized that Erebus had been a wake-up call. The city's flaws and corruption had been hidden beneath the surface, and Erebus had brought them to light. The survivors began to organize, forming a new community based on trust, empathy, and cooperation. Jamal and Alex became leaders in the group, helping to coordinate efforts and provide support. As the city slowly began to heal, Jamal realized that the true enemy hadn't been Erebus, but the systems and structures that had allowed corruption to thrive. The story of Jamal and the Erebus project became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of accountability. And as Jamal looked out over the new city, they knew that the real work had just begun. The rebuilding process would be long and hard, but with the help of their friends and community, Jamal knew they could make a difference. The city would rise again, stronger and more resilient than before. Moral of the story: the story of Jamal and Erebus teaches us that true power lies not in systems or structures, but in the people who build and maintain them. It highlights the importance of accountability, transparency, and community-driven change. When we work together and prioritize the well-being of all, we can build stronger, more resilient communities that are better equipped to face challenges and overcome adversity. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths.